Hello everyone, this is Jack. To avoid any confusion, since we moved episode 13 to the front of the line, we wanted to give you all a heads up that this episode was recorded before both Deacon's trip and before our Patreon went live. Both of these things have since happened, so please disregard any mention of them in the future tense. Also, for our Patreon supporters and tiers that include end-of-episode shoutouts, we will begin reading your names off with episode 17 after these pre-recorded episodes go live. Thank you for your understanding and continued support. We really couldn't do this without all of you. Now, without further ado, please enjoy the show.
Call of the Void contains strong language and possible trigger warnings and is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Deacon.
Hi, I'm Jack.
And welcome to Call of the Void, a podcast about all things weird and macabre. Now, this week, I think we just kind of want to have a bit of a chat about some of the places that we would absolutely love to investigate. If we ever have a chance. So, a little bit of a backstory here. So Jack and I have been talking for a really long time about how much we would love to actually have some kind of, like investigation show, because it would be fun. And we would love to like go and explore some haunted places and shit, and wombat to chicken the fuck out.
Yeah, like
It'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully at some point we can get there. I think we mentioned last episode that we're trying to set up our Patreon, so hopefully one day soon we can build up the funding necessary to go do that kind of stuff every so often.
Yeah. But for right now, I think we would just kind of share with everyone the like places that like our dream places to kind of investigate. Yeah. I know I personally have quite a few. I know you have said before that you really, really, really want to take me to Salem.
I desperately want to take you to Salem because I've been there a couple of times, and Salem is one of those places that like the history of the place is not a good one. It's not. But no. Like, if you know where to look and where to go, like, you can get a really great look into how things were and everything, because obviously in a place like that you're gonna find like tourist traps and things like that where it's just there for a quick buck, but there are some genuinely cool exhibits and everything to go look at, and just the town itself is so the town itself is just kind of wonderful, and it's one of those places that every single time I've only been there twice, but every time I've left, I've thought to myself, man, I gotta go back. So yeah.
I think you said you've kind of described it perfectly when you've mentioned it before, that it's one of those places that you go in and you feel the history.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And there's I never went to, there's apparently a place that's a memoriam for a lot of the people that were executed during the witch trials. Because and I didn't know this when I first went there, but a lot of the people nobody knows where they were buried. So there's a memoriam sort of place that I personally would like to go to that I've never been to before. But there is a mini, like, a small, like, plot in the middle of the town that has, like 4 people that died around that time that, like, you know, they have, like, the old original headstones and stuff like that. And it's just, you really do get the sense when you're there, like, you feel like you just, like I said to you that other time, like you just said, you really do feel the history there. And
yeah,
like, I'm somebody who I'm a big fan of, you know, of history and, like, you know, looking into, like, stuff that happened, no matter how, like, kind of awful it was. And I'm the kind of person who likes to learn things. So
yeah,
for somebody like me, that place is just, it's really great. And I would love to take you there, because, you know, I also know a couple of really great places to go eat.
Yeah. For me, I have, and I've mentioned this before, but the only place that I have ever said that is good in the South is New Orleans. Yeah. And I want to go there so bad.
Yeah. I would like to go there myself. Reaper desperately wants to go there at some point. So, like, that's one of his big, like, one of his bucket list vacations. So
it's one of those places where, like, the vibe is so cool, and
you've been there?
I've not.
Oh, okay.
But I have people who have gone, and they've taken pictures and everything, and I'm like, God, I want to be there.
Yeah.
Like, the pictures that they've taken and everything that I've seen, and like, I'm just like, oh my God, like, this place is great. And I want to be there so bad.
Oh, absolutely.
Not to mention, like, fucking beignets are delicious.
I've never had one personally.
Oh God, they're so good. I have a recipe for beignets. We might have to do that.
All right.
But yeah, like, they're so good, and I really want to go and experience, like, everything around the place and the food. Yeah. And I don't know. I've had this soft spot for, like, the whole voodoo thing forever.
Yeah, I actually recently just saw a thing about it, and honestly, like, I would love to go learn more about it, because it's kind of sad that it's been, like, this awfully vilified thing when that's not even close to what it actually is supposed to be.
Yeah, so it's usually verified as it's super taboo, apparently, and it's not really.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those things that's, like, it's really stupid.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I really want to go. I've always had, like, this like very large obsession with, like, I don't know, like, the aesthetic and the whole Mardi Gras thing. And
plus there's also supposedly a couple of haunted spots that I would like to go visit.
There's like a lot of haunted places in New Orleans that I want to go.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be so good. It'd be so great.
One of the places I kind of want to go, and here's the thing. The reason I want to go to this place is because I personally have some doubts as to whether or not it's actually haunted, and I would just like to go experience it for myself.
Oh?
The Winchester House.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly, I have some doubts about it, because, like, looking at it, and I've said this before on the show, but, like, I feel like, even as somebody who is a true believer in all of this stuff, I believe in looking at things from the lens of a skeptic. And, like, I believe in, like, trying to disprove rather than prove, because if you go in not expecting to find anything, chances are, like, whatever you do find, if you find anything, like, I feel like it holds more weight. Because when you go in there looking to find something, anything can be evidence, you know? So I'd like to go there because part of me feels like that is probably just a case of a story that got super sensationalized and is not what people say it is. I know that there are people who have reported like crazy occurrences in there. But like, I don't know. Like I'm a little bit skeptical about it. I think that there's a greater chance that this was a woman who suffered a great many losses in her life and didn't know what to do with the grief, and she was super rich, so she just kind of did this thing to keep her mind occupied or something like that. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the whole Winchester House thing.
Yeah.
It's always been one of those things that I've always been like skeptical of, but again, it's one of those I don't knows.
Oh yeah.
I have one that's sort of similar.
Yeah.
I forget what the name of the actual hotel is, but the fucking Shining Hotel.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not sure I know what it was.
So the hotel that's like from The Shining, is it like the Overlook Hotel or something like that? Maybe, I don't know. It's owned by the people who run Taps.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah. Jay and Grant is their names. They own.
I used to watch that show all the time. Yeah. I don't, and I haven't in ages, so I don't remember.
They own the hotel.
Okay.
So, well, as far as I know, because they talked about it before whenever they did an investigation of it, that they own the place, or at least part of it, or something like that, and they have like basically free reign to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
So it's one of those places that I've always wanted to go to and to visit, just to kind of see.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing also, because we've already obviously mentioned a couple places and everything like that, and, you know, so as far as, like, specific locations, like we've obviously said New Orleans and Salem and all that stuff, but, like, I'm talking about, you know, the more specific things like the hotel you just mentioned and the Winchester House. If at some point we had the means and the funding necessary to do like a quote-unquote proper investigation and everything, and staying over for the night was an option, would you do that?
For like what?
For like the specific locations, like
oh, definitely
at the Winchester House, whatever.
100%.
Because there are some that I would, and other things I totally would not.
Oh, 100%. I don't have a single problem staying overnight in a potentially haunted place. I would love to go to the Sally House.
No.
That would be great.
You're going by yourself, my friend.
I would love to go to the Sally House.
I mean, like,
that would be fantastic.
Okay, so I would go to the Sally House, but I would not stay overnight.
Why?
Okay, so I have this fear. Like, one of my fears is like being kind of in a dead sleep, and I've said this, and I told this story when we were talking about like paranormal experiences that we had and everything. Like, I've had something kind of happen to me like this before, and I'm terrified of it, like waking up and turning over in bed and seeing something there. You know, and one of the things that was reported once as a haunting that somebody experienced was somebody that like turned over and there was this like creepy thing just like lying down next to them with their eyes wide open staring at them, and I'm like, there's a hell of a lot of nope here for me.
See, again, I have zero problems with anything in that. Like, I suffer from sleep paralysis, so that's like that's not too far away from the norm.
Yeah.
But no, like I would love to go to the Sally House. That'd be great. I would 100% stay overnight.
I would investigate it. I wouldn't stay overnight. Like, I would, if you would like to stay overnight, I'm going to be like, look, listen, I love you, but here's the number to the hotel.
But you have to.
No. I will give you the number to the hotel that I will be staying at.
I'll stay overnight, and you can sleep during the day and then do an investigation while I sleep there overnight. How's that sound? That way you're awake. You don't have to experience the dead sleep thing, and I can stay overnight. It works.
Yeah, but that seems like it would really throw off my sleep schedule that I just got back. So
nah, it'll be fine.
2 years of basically being nocturnal. Not good.
Well, I mean, if we did an investigation of any place, it would be during the night anyway.
Yeah, but it doesn't fit my needs, so...
Wow.
I feel like that comment alone is going to make me, like, fast forward a couple years from now when I'm setting up my sleeping bag at the Sally House, hating myself.
Yep. Deacon will remember this. This is one of those things that I'm gonna jot down in my
You're gonna jot that down next to the note of, if I die before you, put rare lesbian paladin on my tombstone.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have to after the Sally House, so that's good. Keep that note next to it.
Right next to my filthy mustard hater.
I don't, you know what? No, I'm going to be the bigger person here. And I'm not going to say anything, because I almost just went into a little bit of a rant. I'm going to stop.
Maybe one day you guys will know what we're talking about.
Oh, God.
Not today, but maybe one day we'll disclose what this argument is about.
I love you, but I also hate you.
Oh, God. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Sally House is one that I would love to go to. Let's see.
I really, really want to go to Tombstone, Arizona. Because, like, you are gonna have to watch the movie Tombstone before we go to understand exactly why I want to go there. There's, like, admittedly, some of the history might be a little bit muddled in the movie, but I'm not really a fan of Westerns. But
No, me either. Yeah, I hate Westerns.
But I've loved Tombstone since I was a kid. I'm a fan, like a huge, huge fan of Doc Holliday as a character. Maybe not so much the actual historical person, because, again, some of the history might be a little bit muddled in the movie. But, like, by the way, the whole reason I wanted to play Overwatch to begin with is because McCree has the line, "I'm your Huckleberry," and one of his, which is like a famous Doc Holliday line from Tombstone, and also one of McCree's skins, the Gambler skin, is made like to resemble Doc Holliday from the movie. So in my head, I'm like, and that's also why McCree is my main, because I'm like, yeah, I want to get really good at McCree, so this way I could just say Tombstone lines the whole time that I'm playing. But
yeah, I mean, for me, it's one of those things where you first, mentioned that, and I was like, what's a Doc Holliday?
Yeah, I think you actually asked me that exact question. You're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, no, it was a person. But
yeah, I don't watch Westerns. Yeah. So my grandfather constantly watches Westerns all the time and has basically seen every single episode of Gunsmoke and Bonanza and all that garbage that could ever exist.
I mean, that's probably why I don't like Westerns myself, because like my dad has this thing where like he almost exclusively watches movies that were made like before the 80s. So like, and mostly like way before the 80s. So like,
yeah, so I mean, for me, it's one of those things where I've never had an interest in those kind of things. So whenever you're like, oh, like, I mean, I get it. Like, I know about the history of Tombstone and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, really anything about, like, the movie.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, the fact that I don't like Westerns, but I've loved this movie forever, like, I think that's why, like, I would love to go to Tombstone and, like, see what I can learn about, like, the actual people and, like...
We would legit go to Tombstone and you'd be quoting fucking lines the entire time, and I'd be like, what?
No, like, I would go there and dressed up like Doc Holliday, and you would have to be like, I don't know this person.
I don't know who this is.
Yeah. I wouldn't actually do that. It would cross my mind, but I wouldn't actually do that.
It'd be like that episode of Seinfeld where it's like, who are you?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, but yeah, like Tombstone is definitely a place that I would like to go to. Like, not even just for, like Wyatt Earp and that whole thing, but just like the way it was founded and, yeah.
A thing that I have always found intriguing, and that I would like to go. So I'd like to preface this.
Okay.
So I am part Native American, and I've heard I've heard like a lot of like Native American stories and stuff and everything since I was a little kid. So I've always kind of been intrigued with that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I've always found interesting, and this is going to probably be a thing that you immediately nope out of.
Okay.
So there is a thing in like Navajo culture.
Okay.
Called a skinwalker.
Uh-huh.
And I would super, super like to look into those. It's a thing that I would have to like, I would definitely have to be like, yo, like, not, like, I don't want it to come across as like being disrespectful or anything like that in any way, shape, or form. But I find that that's like a really intriguing thing to me.
Well, is there like in the mythology, is there like a specific place where they're more like prevalent, or that like...
I mean, so a lot of the things like Nevada is where a lot of people go to, like, because I mean there was a Ghost Adventures episode where they looked into skinwalkers and stuff, and like there are places that you can go to, like if you were to there are places that like if you go and kind of bring up at all that you're like looking into it, they'll run you out of town because you're not even supposed to like mention the word.
I was gonna say and I won't say it because I know that it's one of the things you're not supposed to say the word. The one that begins with W.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
That's considered a skinwalker, right? Like that's within that thing, or am I wrong?
Kind of, sort of, not not particularly like a Navajo skinwalker, but I guess in technicality it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like those kinds of things are things that I've always been intrigued by, just because, you know, I am from a family that we've talked about like Native American culture and stuff, because I am, you know, part Native American. So it's a thing that's been brought up in our family. Those kinds of stories and things have always intrigued me. And so I've had my own research and stuff that I've done on those kinds of things. And I always find like when people are looking into those kinds of things and that kind of research and shit, like I find that stuff like really cool.
I mean, I would like to look into that as well. Like, you know, I mean, if it's a thing where like you're making me go sleep in the forest at night, like I will not do that. But if it's just
we'll
like,
see.
Oh God,
will not sleep in the forest. Gonna jot that down.
but that's what I mean. It's like if you're just taking me to a place where they're supposed to be, like, you know, where there have been sightings or whatever. And
to be fair, it's not even like forest. Like,
no, I know. I'm just saying
it's the desert. It's the middle of the fucking desert.
No, I know, but like I'm aware. Like I just said that like as like a for instance kind of thing. Like, you know, if we were going to prove that Bigfoot was bullshit, I wouldn't go sleep in the forest, is what I'm trying to say. Like, if it's one of those things where I'm going to be out in the elements, I'm probably not going to be happy about it. I'm like, that's one of those things, like, I'm an indoor cat, and I'm too much of a city slicker to go camping. So,
I mean, I've never been camping, but yeah, like, like I said, I'm going to write that down because there might be a place later that we might have to do that.
Okay. So. Well, yeah. Also,
a few places.
Although I do now realize how that sounded when we were talking about Nevada, and then I was like, yeah, well, I won't sleep in the forest, and I realize how that sounds now. Like, that's not what I meant. So I know that Nevada is a desert. Well,
I was just making sure.
I am a dumb.
But
or
you
actually,
can tell that you're not an outdoorsy person. I mean, I'm not either. Yeah. But no.
I'm actually not a dumb. I just sounded like a dumb.
But whenever I mention like sleeping in the forest and that sort of thing, or in the woods at the very least, if we could ever get permission to check out the Devil's Tramping Ground.
So here's my thing about that, because I've given that a lot of thought. Since the very first time that you've told me about it, I thought to myself, you know, it might actually be cool to check that out. But here's the thing. I don't know if I would be able to sleep, and I don't want to see anything. So,
I mean, again, like,
I don't like your evil giggles, sir.
I mean, I was gonna say, again, you're gonna have to get over it.
So I have this idea in my head. Every time like this shit gets brought up, this thing pops into my head, like, but like our avatar things, like your Dragonborn and my little Wombat Baron avatar, where it's like you have like a little like baby leash or something on me and I'm trying to run away. And you're like, nope, you gotta do it.
No, because that's exactly what it would be. You would have a gay baby leash and you wouldn't be able to go anywhere.
Why a gay baby leash? Is it rainbow? Can it be rainbow?
Well, I mean, it's like gay baby jail.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's some pictures on the internet I'll have to show you later.
No.
It's of like cats and stuff that have like a hamper over top of them, and it just says like "gay baby jail."
Aww. No.
But yeah, so there's we're gonna have to go, and you're either just gonna have to sleep or not sleep.
I'll make sure to take a sleep aid.
I was about to say, I'll make sure to lace your water with like melatonin.
Oh.
But no, like we're like, that's one thing that I really, really one day would have to do. I mean, the only downside is that you would have to come to North Carolina, and that's like, you know, that's the worst part of all of it.
One thing I do want to do is, I also love that like all the places I'm like, yeah, I would love to do this, are places where we could stay at a hotel or a bed and breakfast or something. I just realized that now because of what I was about to say.
It's not even that. It's like everyone that I've said so far has been there's been a few that you've been like, oh yeah, I would love to go there and hang out and do a thing and, you know, whatever, and it'd be totally fine to stay the night and whatever. And then I say something, you're like, nope. Yeah. Not happening. Nope.
So the reason why I bring that up and why I just realized that is because like I've mentioned before that I grew up on Staten Island, and there's supposed to be a whole bunch of haunted places on Staten Island, and one of these places that I've been to a couple of times for like different events or whatever is this place called the Old Bermuda Inn. And I didn't know until very recently that it's also a bed and breakfast type place. So they actually have like rooms that you can stay in. And there's, I forget what it's called. I want to say it's like the Sunset Room, but that's totally not what it is. But yeah, like there's a room that's allegedly the most haunted of the rooms in there. Like that's something I would love to do. 'Cause I've only ever been there like during the day for events, and like I've driven by there at night, but
I mean, it still makes me laugh that a place called the Old Bermuda Inn you didn't think would be a hotel.
I mean, that was one of those things that like after I found out, I was like, you know? That makes sense. I mean, I don't know. Like I've seen things that like, and restaurants and shit that like that are called things like that are not actually like sleepover places. So
that would almost be like me going to some place that's like something tavern and being like, I wonder if this place is a bar.
Look. Oh god.
Anyway.
Remember what I said before about how I love you, but I also hate you? Like,
I know.
Okay, so to be clear, my forest comment was not a dumb thing. This, however, is totally a dumb thing.
Anyway, speaking of bed and breakfasts, one that I would also like to go to is the Lizzie Borden house.
Yes, I would love to. Like, I've been very intrigued by that story since I first heard it as a kid.
Yep, it is a bed and breakfast, so you can stay in rooms that people were murdered in.
I have some feelings about that case.
I mean, it's one of those cases that I think are really interesting, but I don't really know what to make of it.
I mean, I personally, I feel like Lizzie Borden was the obvious suspect, but I honestly don't know if she actually did it. Like, I have some doubts as to that. So,
but yeah, I mean, I think it would be a cool, interesting thing to go to, and to kind of, just spend a night there and see what happens. Because I've heard like millions of different accounts of people who actually go there and whatever. But I think it'd be an interesting one. Another place that I'd like to go to that we've vaguely talked about before, and it's another one that I would like to preface that I don't want to go here for any kind of like disrespectful reason or anything like that. It's a place that I would like to go to kind of walk through and just kind of see. Like, I'm not wanting to find anything, obviously, but it's one of those places that I want to go and look around. But yeah, it's more of a place that I just kind of want to walk through. I don't want to like see anything or catch anything or whatever, But I would like to go to the suicide forest in Japan.
I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest.
Again, not because I want to
actually
see a body or anything, but
I mean, that's kind of how I feel about like Salem. Like I said before, like the history there is kind of like, it's obviously not good, and a bunch of people were killed over like nonsense bullshit, but it's more like, like it I don't mean any disrespect in that way either. Like, it's just kind of a,
for me, it's one of those places that like I would want to go to pay respects.
Yeah.
And I know that I've heard that it's incredibly haunted. But I don't want to like, it's not that I want to like come across a body or whatever. I would actively avoid, because people like tie off ribbons to the areas that they're going to go to, But I feel like it's one of those places that I want to go to, pay respects, and it's if we ever did end up going there, it would not be a thing that like we wouldn't like record anything there. It's a thing that like we would go to and talk about afterwards.
Exactly. I think that I read once that they do tours, like there's like a path that they very specifically take people through, so this way you could avoid all of that, just to kind of like to do what you were saying, to just kind of like walk through and
there is a path that you're totally fine to walk on, that people do walk on. It's like a jogging trail. But going beyond that is where the actual like forest is. But yeah, it's one of those things that I would like to go to, just to it's not a thing that like I want to, again, no disrespect and no
like it's not one of those things like, oh, we're
I'm not
doing
pulling
this
a
for
fucking
fun.
like
Don't
I'm not
even
pulling
say
a
his
fucking
name.
like
Don't
fucking
even say it.
certain YouTuber. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, everybody knows who we're talking about.
But that's one of those that I was like, I need to super preference this before I say anything.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
like, what's funny is like when you first mentioned it, like it didn't even like before you even said it, like I knew that you meant like not to record, just to like go there. So yeah. But I also know you, so
wait, excuse me? What does that mean?
No, I'm saying like it's a good thing. Like I'm saying that people just tune, like, if this was somebody's first episode and they don't, like, know your personality
that's fair,
by now, like, they might think that that's what we intended to do, but, like, but me, as somebody who has known you for quite a while now, like, I knew right away that that's not what you meant.
Yeah. I don't have any interest in, like, recording anything while we're there, like, but yeah, I mean, I think it's as weird as it's going to sound, it's an experience that I would like to have that we can talk about later. But yeah, it's a super tragic thing, and I would definitely want to go pay respects and that sort of thing. But that's one of the places that is pretty high on my list of, like, if we ever had the money to do like,
I mean,
I want to do that sort of thing. I mean, I kind of want to go to Japan anyway.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. Like, there are definitely things like I've been talking a lot lately about The World Ends With You. It's one of my favorite video games, and, like, the game takes place in Shibuya, which is a place, like, in Tokyo, like, and the places in the game are based on very real places that I have gone and looked up and seen, and I would love to just go there, you know. I'd like to go to Shibuya just to, like, you know, see things that were in the game. And, like, the thing is, like, Shibuya is a very, like, fashion-y district, so I'd also like to go to Akihabara, because that's
I want to go to Akihabara so bad.
So, because that's obviously the video game district, so that's more my
video
speed.
Games and anime.
So that's, like, more my speed, and I'd like to go there, but I would love to just go there to kind of see everything.
So yeah, I mean, I want to go to Japan anyway, just because, you know, like, the shrines and stuff and all that, like, that's really, really, really cool. So if that's a stop that we could make, like, if we ever made it to that point that we could do that, that would be awesome. But yeah, like, that's one of the big places that, like, eventually super far down the road I would love to do. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't really know too many other places, because no, I absolutely would not want to go waste my time going out into the fucking woods to see if Bigfoot is bullshit, because Bigfoot is bullshit. This makes episode 4 that I've brought it up.
4 in a row. Like, if we do a 5th, we have to make t-shirts.
Challenge accepted.
Oh,
we're gonna have
next episode.
We're gonna have a completely off topic. Yeah, like, we're gonna have something that's completely off topic, and I'm gonna find somehow, some way to bring it in.
Yeah. I mean, you pulled in the mustard shit pretty handily without any provocation.
Yeah, I'm gonna. That's one that I'm gonna continue to do.
Why?
I might also start bringing in the blonde Chris Angel argument.
I'm going to strangle you. I am going to, like, somehow, like, pull, like, a Freddy Krueger and, like, go into your nightmares and strangle you.
We again, that's one of those dumb Jack and Deacon arguments that you guys might be privy to one day. But for now, it's secret. But yeah, like,
maybe for April Fools we'll do.
I was about to say April Fool's Day we'll do it.
Yeah, we'll just do an like a stupid, dumb, like, one-off episode explaining all of these in jokes that we keep talking about.
Oh Christ! But Mr. Kennedy.
Oh my God.
But we're
it hurts that I can't comment on that right now.
uh, so what about you? Are there any other places that you can think of?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there are some that, like, I would really like to go see if we could, like, Blackbeard's ship that you mentioned.
Oh, yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, like...
Again, that would involve you coming to North Carolina, and that's sort of the worst part of all of it, but...
like, any like, piratey shit, I'm totally up for.
Well, also, I'm supposed to be coming up to New York soon, so we can probably, like, see some haints while we're there.
Some what? Some
haints.
I don't know what you're saying.
A haint.
I don't know what you mean.
It's like a haunt, but I said a haint.
I thought that's what you meant, but I was like, no, that's weird.
That's a thing that my grandparents say whenever they talk about things being haunted. They call them haints because they ain't gonna deal with it.
So I went from being like, oh, that's weird, to I'm totally adopting this phrase. That's a good one.
But yeah. So, but we could probably go see something. I know you were talking about, like, there being, I don't know, if I come into the city or whatever, we could probably maybe try to go see about ghost ships or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
I will definitely look into, like, accessible stuff, because, like, I'm not going to give away specifics of, like, you know, travel and how we would each be getting there and where we would be meeting up, but, like, I could look into places that are accessible from where we would be meeting up in Manhattan to go see. So, yeah, like, we could totally do that if we wind up going into Manhattan or something.
Yeah. I mean, plus, again, like, our friend Gideon and Bat are I'm going to be staying with them in their home, so, and it's super incredibly haunted.
Yeah, like, I've had experiences there, or one experience. I think I've talked about it, but just a quick recap, because I find it hilarious. So we were, Luke and I were recording an episode of Drunk Fandom, and it was super early in the morning, and, like, it was around 7 o'clock, and neither of us had gone to bed yet, and so, like, Jen was, like, in the room, like, manning the recording and, like, working on some art or something, and I was like, oh shit, because we had been hanging out in the basement earlier, so I had an energy drink down there, and I'm like, I really need my energy drink, but, like, I forgot it down there. Give me a second, I'll go downstairs. So I'm halfway down the stairs into their basement, and clear as day, as though they're standing right next to the staircase, right in my ear, I hear a guy's voice that I am unfamiliar with, because, like, and I stress that because I know Jen's father, who lives there in the house, and even if he was at work, so it wouldn't have been him anyway, but I know what he sounds like, it wasn't him. I know what Luke sounds like, it wasn't him. It definitely wasn't coming out from outside, and the only other person that it could have been was one of Jen's dad's friends, and there would have been no reason for him to have been there at the time, and again, was not coming from outside. I hear this guy's voice go, "Hello, how are you?" And my response was to freeze in place, look around and go, I'm okay. and excuse me. But yeah, like, I I was a little creeped out by that, but, like, the thing that made me turn tail and run wasn't the potential ghost. It was the creepy crawlies, because it had rained that night, and it's a basement, so there were crickets everywhere, which I do not fuck around with crickets.
Yeah.
Like, I really tried, but these crickets, I don't know if they were on something, because they weren't scared of me, they were hopping at me. So I ran back up the stairs, and as I'm going back to the room where we were recording, I hear Luke tell Jen, yeah, I'm pretty sure this house is haunted. Just as I had that experience, and I walked in and I'm like, so about that. And by the way, can you please go get my energy drink?
Yeah, I'm super excited, and I'm hoping that I have something that I can talk about after we
me too.
After I come up there, because it's gonna be great.
Me too.
But yeah, like it's one of those. It's one of the places that I might get to go see something happen in pretty soon. Actually,
yeah,
it's like 2 weeks away. I'm gonna date this episode.
I can't believe that. Yeah,
I'm excited. It is 15 days.
Cool. Yeah,
I am super excited. It's gonna be great.
I'm super excited too. I'm gonna start counting down.
Yep, I have been.
Yep.
But yeah, but that said, I mean, like I said, we have some places that we can probably go look at fairly soon, and that might be something that we bring up later on the show. If we have any kind of experiences or anything, we can chat about them.
Yes.
Which would be interesting.
It would.
To say the least.
Mm-hmm.
It would be something happening and then Jack running off and me being like, no, wait, come back.
but that's the weird thing. Like I said, I've experienced things and I haven't run away. You know, it's like, it's just certain things I don't fuck with. Like with the Sally house, that shit's supposed to be demons. You know, like, I don't fuck with demons. Like, if it's ghosts, whatever. But, like, something that can potentially possess somebody, I'm not about that life.
See, I guess that's a topic for another time.
Okay.
Because that's a thing that I have feelings about.
Okay.
That I don't necessarily know how much I believe in.
Yeah.
But again, conversation for another time. Yeah. Probably for another episode of Call of the Void. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I find those kinds of things intriguing, and there's not a lot that like scares me per se. Like, I'm one of those people that it's very difficult to scare unless it's something that, like, I don't know, something medical that I can't see and I have no way of verifying.
Yeah.
Or if it's like grasshoppers or fucking bats. Like,
I was just gonna say, like, clowns or grasshoppers.
Yeah, clowns, grasshoppers, bats, and like
you have the thing about
porcelain dolls.
I was just gonna say, you have a thing about dolls, right?
Porcelain dolls.
Okay.
Very specifically porcelain dolls.
I created a character in Soul Calibur 6, and after I created them, I thought of you because I was like, oh, Deacon would hate this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's because you could create like these automaton kind of characters that like they're like gigantic ballpoint. Wow, that is the correct term. They're like these giant porcelain looking like dolls, and I gave mine a really fucking creepy thing so without meaning to. So this like kind of pretty thing with this vacant expression is like, I'm gonna take your heart. And I was like, wow, I created Deacon's worst nightmare.
Yeah, a little bit. No, so and I kind of lump like ventriloquist dummies into the same like pool as porcelain dolls. my grandma used to collect those kinds of things,
and
so they creep me right the fuck out.
Yeah, I had a doll experience that was not cool.
Yep, I've had a couple doll experiences. They're not great. And my grandma also used to collect porcelain clowns, which absolutely the fuck no.
Oh, you poor baby.
So yeah. So I don't like it. I'm one of those people that my fears are completely like irrational.
Oh yeah, like I was thinking about it the other day. It's like if I really think about it, most of my fears are kind of silly. Like,
but when it comes to things like I like spiders and snakes, and I don't really have a problem with things like, I don't know, fucking ghosts and shit. Like I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But anywho, I think that may be all the time we have for this one.
Yeah.
But that said, before we go, we'd like to take a moment to thank our wonderful, wonderful friends over at the Fierce Ferret website and twitch.tv/Fierce Ferrets. Gideon and Bat, they are wonderful people who are graciously hosting our podcast on their website. So thank you so much for allowing us to be on your site. You can also find us over in Drunk Fandom, which is a podcast we've started recording more on now. Basically, we get someone drunk and they talk about a fandom to somebody who has never experienced said fandom.
Yes.
And we have The Last Light, which is our live Starfinder session that we play every Tuesday live on Twitch and becomes a podcast eventually.
Yeah. Twitch.tv/Fierce Ferrets.
Yep.
And you could also find us on social media. We have a Twitter you can follow us on, and also we are on Instagram. The username is the same for both. It's the COTV podcast. So we hope to see you there as well. And yeah, like we said earlier, hopefully the Patreon will be up and running soon.
TM. Also, if you have any suggestions, make sure to throw them our way. We would love to cover some topics that you guys want us to. So
we've gotten a couple of really interesting suggestions for topics and for like ARGs. We asked the other day about, if there's any ARGs, and like we only got one response, but it was a good one. So
yeah,
I'm kind of excited to look into that.
It's something we're definitely going to be looking into. Yeah. But if there are any other suggestions out there, please feel free to leave them on our Twitter and Instagram and all that good stuff. And we will do the best we can to research them, and
we'll give
probably
you a
make
shout
an
out
episode.
when we do.
Definitely, yes. But I think that's all of our plugs for this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we will see you guys in the next episode, and until then, sweet dreams.
Bye.